Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Top 5 Wednesdays. In today's video, in today's video, I have my top 5 caretakers in books. Three of my top 5 are doctors of some sort. Yeah, doctors. 2 of my top 5 caretakers are parental figures in this really scary world. Are you excited? I'm excited. The first top 5 caretaker that I would recommend in books is From the Road by Cormac McCarthy. So this follows Papa and son. They never, this was so ominous because they never get a name. And they're just walking down this lonely road. And I feel like Papa, this is post-apocalypse, but you never fully understand what the apocalypse was, what ended the world. You do know some of the after effects of the end of the world, how there aren't many people, and those that you do meet are very dangerous because there are things such as cannibalism, and people kind of hunt each other in a low-key, more ominous way than Hunger Games. Hunger Games, you know what you're signing up for. You go and you know 95% of the people that go are dead or are going to die. In this world, you come across some people, but you don't know if you can trust them. You don't know if they're cannibals at this point. You don't know if they're pretending to be hungry and thirsty and malnourished to try and kidnap you. You don't know what is going on. And you never fully get the answers. So it's just very ominous, very depressing. It's not even a sad book. It's just depressing. It's very unique. But I feel like Papa would not have survived without his son. And if Papa didn't have a reason to keep going, being so motivated to fight, because he would go to the ends of the earth for his child, with his child. And he proved that in this book. He does go to the ends of the earth with his son, for his son. So it was a very powerful book. I don't know if everyone would love it though, because it is very mundane. It's very depressing, and like I said, you are just walking down this endless road. Papa is trying to get them to the beach, and he says at some point that he doesn't even know why he needs to go to the coast, but he needs to go. So there are lots of things that are endangering them. Also, there are no quotation marks in this book, and I know that makes some people mad. It really did make me mad. So I listened to this one primarily on audiobook because I tried to physically read it, but I got to page 50, and then I was just like, okay, I can't do it without the quotation marks. And so I started listening to it from where I was, and it went very, very well. I did really enjoy this, so my first recommendation is Papa. I do feel like the fact that we'd never get a name for Papa and son is like an added element, an added layer to the story. The other parent that I have recommended for like best caretaker is Mallerie from Josh Mallerman. This is actually the second in the Bird Box series. I definitely preferred the second story, Mallerie, over Bird Box. However, I do recommend that you read both of them if you haven't, because this one will spoil a lot of stuff that happened in Bird Box. And so I'm not going to tell you a whole lot about what happens in Mallerie because, like I said, it's the second in a series and I don't want to spoil the whole series for you. All I can tell you is that in Bird Box, you follow Mallerie at the beginning of this apocalypse type of thing, where if you use your eyes to look at this creature, or you're never even really, you don't really ever see it because you don't want to go crazy too. So you're not even sure what the creature or entity is, but if you look it in the eyes, then it makes you go crazy and kill yourself. And so you follow Mallerie at the beginning of that journey, and she's pregnant at the beginning. So she eventually has 2 babies, and they're about the same age, and they decide that, they need to find a sanctuary. A sanctuary? I don't think that's right. A little haven. Ooh, they need to find a safe place. So they go on this journey to this, to the school for the blind, who is taking people in, and it's like this safe haven. And then stuff gets real crazy. And this is the aftermath. So in the first book, you're just following them to see if they even ever make it to that safe haven. So it's just like their journey going from the city to the school for the blind. I think that's where they're trying to go, but I can't tell you if they make it or not. But in Mallerie, this is the aftermath of when they do or don't make it to their safe haven. I also want to make a side note of, I don't think her name is Olivia. I don't remember. Olympia. Olympia is Mallerie's daughter. I think in Mallerie that Olympia is kind of a caretaker for Mallerie as well. There are some things that you are led to believe, and then some truths come out, and it turns out that Olympia has been watching out for her mom her entire life. So yes, I do think Mallerie is an amazing mom and puts these rules in place for her children so to keep them safe, and sometimes that makes one or both of her children resent her. But I think that her heart is always in the right place, and I think that Olympia is, in a lot of ways, her mom's caretaker too, even if her mom didn't realize it. Alright, the next 3 are books with doctors. 2 of them are thrillers. And then we're going to end on a romance that actually has 2 doctors in it. So, our thriller, number 1, is Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. So, in this, you follow Jules, who signs up to apartment sit for 3 months. I think it's 3 months, but the details are a little fuzzy. I haven't read this in a while. But she signs up to apartment sit, and she's getting paid. It's like her job. But they have some strange rules, like no visitors, no nights spent away, no disturbing the other residents. And Jules tries really hard to abide by those rules, even if she doesn't agree with all of them and she thinks some of them are weird. But then she has this accident, and one of the residents at the at the apartment complex is he's a doctor. And when you meet him, I was very suspicious of him. But I ended up really liking him, and I was rooting, okay, because he's a cute doctor, okay? So I was rooting for him and Jules to, maybe start a relationship. This is not a romance at all, but there was this scene, and no spoilers, so that's all I'm gonna say. But I really, really like the doctor in here. I don't remember his name, but he has dark secrets, and I absolutely love that. The next one follows a therapist. So this is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Take this with a grain of salt because I haven't read The Silent Patient in years, but when I read it years ago, I stayed up all night to read it, and I had class in the morning, so I know that it was good because I ruined my sleep cycle to finish this book in one sitting, or I guess one laying, because I was laying in bed reading it. But oh my goodness, this was so intense. So you follow Alicia, who one day she comes home from work. She shoots her husband 5 times, and then she stops talking. And she hasn't spoken another word in 20 years since then. So criminal psychotherapist Theo Faber has heard about her story, and he decides to go to the mental health ward that she is at, because instead of going to prison, she was locked up in the mental facility because she hasn't talked in 20 years. And he thinks that he can get her to talk. So you're following from his perspective, and you kind of go back and forth in time. And oh my gosh, when I read it, this was incredible. Like, such a shocking turn of events in The Silent Patient. Again, I read a lot more thrillers than I did when I read this book. I think this might have been one of the first thrillers that actually got me to go seek out more thrillers. So thank you, The Silent Patient. But for what it was when I read it several years ago, loved every second of it. And I would still recommend Theo as a doctor, caretaker, therapist type to follow. And our last one has 2 doctors. This is the only romance that made my top 5 list. This is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I know that everyone loves Part of Your World, which is the first book in this companion novel series. I'm the unpopular opinion, and I think Yours Truly was even better than Part of Your World. Don't get me wrong, I liked Part of Your World, but I loved Yours Truly. Like, this will forever have a special place in my heart. So, you follow 2 doctors who, I think they're emergency room doctors, and after having these cases, they both suffer with anxiety. And I really enjoyed the fact that they're like real humans. They're real people with real emotions. It's not like, oh, I'm a doctor, I can conquer the world. Because I'm a teacher and I can conquer the world, but I shouldn't always have to. And I shouldn't have to always bottle up my emotions. I mean, sometimes when I'm at school, I have to because, I'm the only adult in the room. But I feel like, especially people in the healthcare field, they're like, they're seen as superheroes because in a lot of ways they are. I'm not saying that they're not. But they also are human and they need to balance their superhero tendencies with some self-care and some self-love. And I just loved, especially Dr. Jacob's journey to find himself and to balance his life of being a doctor with, life outside of that, because he's not just a doctor. Yeah, that's a huge undertaking. That's a big part of who he is. But there are other aspects to his life. And I loved the balance in that. And then I think Brianna Ortez, yes, Brianna is his love interest. And it's kind of like a low stakes hate to love book. But the banter is so sweet in here, and Jacob understands Brianna so much that he's just like, no, I get the anxiety, let's work it out together. And there's some of the things that they both do to kind of get away from the hassle of being a doctor and being at the hospital is that at their lunch break, they both like to eat in the same janitor's closet so that they can get a couple minutes of peace and quiet, and understandable. But it was such a slow burn, hate to love kind of representation of Brianna and Jacob, and just I just love them so much because they felt real. And in a lot of books, especially romance books, the man is so oh, the woman is perfect and the man is, all biceps and just dream guy worthy, but that's not real. The dream guy is the one that can make you laugh when you want to cry. The one who helps you breathe through a panic attack or an anxiety attack, or just hold your hand and squeezes it to kind of show you that he's there without making it all about him. And I just enjoyed that aspect of this book so much. I love this book. But the reason I love it is because of the character work in here. And it was just perfection. So if you only read one of these Caretaker stories, let it be Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, because this was just such a feel-good, realistic romance. And yeah, those are my top 5 books, or top 5 caretakers. You saw nothing. These are my top 5 caretaker books. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel if you're new around here. I will catch you in the next video. Bye.